I want to report this dream before I lose it, before I lose the flavor of it. I've just spent most of the night in a kind of fever dream, although I wasn't in a fever. Um, but I found I was just drenched neck deep in this labyrinthine political plot, or it was more like I was a part of some family or some organization, some group that was uh, just deeply, deeply compromised, and um, and I was supposed to be some kind of agent. Uh, I was supposed to be some kind of operative within this organization. I'm not sure what role I was supposed to play, but I totally forgot. I mean, I like, I know nobody knew this, but I didn't know what I was doing. It was like all the references that they were making to me, and there were just it was, when I say references, it was like there was a library of them. It was like it was chock full of you know little innuendos and things that they were muttering to me, and I was supposed to know what they were talking about, and I didn't. But I, I I guess I wasn't giving myself away, um, because nobody noticed that I didn't know uh, what anything meant. But it was very much like being, the actor's nightmare of being on stage and having the main part and not knowing your lines. It was like that, only much more subtle. It was like just I didn't know anything, and it was just so thick in the soup of all of this corruption and uh, it was uh, um I faintly registered that uh, it was appalling, that it was disgusting in every way on every level, but just that it just permeated everything, and so it was just reality to them and to me, but I had forgotten everything. I had been all of the content, all of the useful content had been drained from my mind, and I was just bereft. I was just standing there among them, bereft of useful knowledge of everything that they knew, and it almost didn't matter what I, what we were doing, but it seemed like it was in the midst of some family gathering or something, and I think I was pretending to have fun, kind of be a clown and just be playful, and there were children there, and I was sort of horsing around, doing stuff with them, mugging with them, taking selfies or something of us. being goofy. But I was just bewildered. Like, and this was going on and on and on and on and on for it felt like it was the whole night. I don't know where this came from. I just don't know. The closest thing I can think of is that I was watching this documentary on Netflix about kidnapping. Maybe you've seen it. About it was about a kidnapping that took place and that was supposedly broken up by the Mexican version of the feds. You know, back when kidnappings were on the rise, I guess maybe they still are. But and so the documentary is about this kidnapping, but that it's actually not what it seems, and that that it was staged, and the real culprits aren't being punished, and you know the state really knows the state and the criminals are intertwined. Just so maybe that was part of what fed into this this fever dream of mine. But it was much more. It was like so much more thoroughgoing than just watching anything on a screen. It was like it was so experiential. I mean, it was like just being there, and just being there among it all, and just not having a clue, and just not knowing anything. And it wasn't even so much about the horror of what this group or this organization or this family, or this maybe it was like a mafia type organization, but it was of indeterminate ethnicity. Uh, but the horror of what they stood for was almost like background. The foreground was just the fact that I was there, and I was supposed to know what I was doing, and I didn't. I was an imposter, or either that, either I was just an imposter who had dropped among them, but they didn't notice the difference, uh, or I had been one of them, and my mind had been, in it with them, and then suddenly something happened, and they just vacuumed up everything in my mind that I previously knew, and so I was still there among them, just without a clue. But again, it was more subtle of a feeling of horror than, or more subtle of a feeling of what is it, embarrassment, or how do you describe the feeling of being on stage and not knowing any of your lines? Embarrassment, just uh, terror. It was like submerged terror, because I knew that I didn't know what was going on, that they didn't know that I didn't know what was going on, and so it was a very uneasy feeling, but I just was faking it. I was faking it, and like I said, being just 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 being a goof off. In a way that was appropriate to the situation, in a way that just made people look and think, there he is having fun with the kids. What a great guy. But I just, but if they knew that I didn't know anything uh, about what they were telling me, I didn't know the context of anything. I didn't know what anything meant. I didn't get any references. If they knew that, if they had done that, then it would be like being in front of an audience, you know, without. I guess the other nightmare is being naked, right? Being on stage naked or being anywhere naked. I don't think I've ever had that nightmare though, that I can remember. I was naked, but nobody knew. My mind was naked. I had been sheared of all my knowledge, and I was naked in my mind, and, uh, and nobody noticed. It wasn't just the Emperor's new clothes, because the Emperor's new clothes they notice, but they just pretend not to notice. In my case, they were too preoccupied or whatever. I just didn't notice that I didn't know anything. Um, Crazy dream. I don't know what it means. Um, I mean, as if like a fear of Alzheimer's. I don't know. It's weird to put it. If that were the case, it's weird to put it in that kind of context. I, I'm just like aware lately of how old I am and how my life is really, the time is running out in my life. So I'm just trying to understand the dream in that sort in in that kind of context, but I don't know. It doesn't really work that way. That feeling wasn't really that feeling wasn't really a part of anything in the dream. I could have been any age. I could have been a young man, uh, or I could have been my age, but without a care in the world. Except that deep down I knew that I didn't know anything. Yeah. Well, there you have it. If anybody has any ideas, I'm all ears. Please let me know what the universe is telling me.